The alien marketplace was alive with noise. Strange voices filled the air. Creatures with long arms, glowing eyes, and colorful scales shouted and bargained. Smells of hot oil, burning metal, and sweet fruit mixed together. It was a world where humans were rare, almost forgotten. Through the busy crowd walked a young human boy. His clothes were old and his eyes were sharp. He had no money, no home, but he had something most people lost, hope. He walked slowly, looking at the strange stalls, the weapons, the glowing food, the strange tools. And then he saw her. In the corner of the marketplace sat a small alien girl. She was different from the others. Her skin was pale blue, her eyes were wide, and her voice was weak. She had a basket in front of her, filled with broken toys, old dolls, cracked metal soldiers, small figures with missing arms. No one wanted them. People walked past her without looking. The boy stopped. He felt something strange in his chest. The girl looked up at him and her lips trembled. "Please." Her voice was soft, almost lost in the noise. "Take my toys, human. I need money. I need medicine for my mother." The boy froze. He had heard many voices in this marketplace, voices full of greed, anger, and lies. But this voice, it was honest. It was desperate. He looked at the toys. Worthless, useless, but in the girl's eyes they were more than toys. They were life. They were hope for her sick mother. The boy opened his mouth, but before he could speak, something happened. A loud sound shook the air. Heavy footsteps. The crowd moved aside as a group of alien guards entered the marketplace. Their armor was dark and sharp, their faces hidden under metal masks. Each carried a long weapon that glowed at the tip. The boy's heart jumped. He had seen these guards before. They never came for trade. They came for something. Or someone, the alien girl gasped. She quickly pulled her basket closer, her small hands shaking. The boy whispered, "Are they looking for you?" The girl did not answer, but her eyes filled with fear. The guards walked slowly through the market, scanning every face. The crowd went silent. The boy felt the weight of their eyes. He tried to move away, but his feet stayed frozen. One guard stopped just a few steps away. His mask turned toward the boy. The boy's breath stopped. Did they see him? Did they know who he was? Then the guard's mask turned to the girl. Her body shook. She whispered so softly the boy almost didn't hear. "If they take me, my mother will die." The boy felt his chest tighten. He looked at her basket again. Broken toys, useless to anyone else, but he knew now there was something more. Something the guards wanted. Something hidden. The guard stepped closer. The girl's eyes filled with tears. The boy made a choice. "Come with me," he whispered. Before she could speak, he grabbed her small hand and pulled her away. They slipped into the crowd, moving fast, weaving between tall creatures and stalls filled with glowing food. The girl tried to hold her basket close, but one toy fell. It rolled across the ground, and for one moment it glowed faintly. A guard saw it. His mask turned. His voice was deep and sharp. "There, stop them!" The marketplace exploded into chaos. Creatures ran in every direction. The guards pushed through the crowd, shouting, weapons ready. The boy and the girl ran faster. He pulled her into a narrow alley, dark and damp, far from the light of the market. His heart raced, his chest burned, but he did not stop. Behind them, the guards shouted. Their heavy boots slammed against the stone. The boy pulled the girl deeper into the shadows. Finally, they stopped, hidden behind old barrels. Both were breathing hard. The boy looked at her. "Why are they chasing you?" The girl's eyes were wet, but in them there was something else. Fear. And also a secret. She opened her basket, moving the broken toys aside. From under the old dolls, she pulled out one small toy. It was different. A crystal toy, glowing softly, alive with strange light. The boy's eyes widened. The girl whispered, "This is why they want me. This is why I cannot stop. This toy is not just a toy. It is hope. It is power. It can save my mother. And maybe more." The boy stared at the crystal. He had never seen anything like it. Something deep inside him stirred, as if the toy was calling to him. Before he could ask more, the sound of footsteps echoed through the alley. The guards were close, very close. The girl's hand shook as she held the glowing crystal. The boy whispered, "If they find us, we're finished." The footsteps grew louder. The shadows grew darker. And then from the end of the alley, a tall guard's mask appeared. The boy's heart stopped. The first part ends here. The secret of the toy is revealed. The danger is real, and the chase has just begun. The alley was dark, cold, and narrow. The boy pressed his back against the wall, pulling the alien girl close. His heart beat like a drum. The guard's heavy boots echoed closer and closer. The girl held the glowing toy tight to her chest. Its faint blue light made her small face shine with fear. The boy whispered, "Stay quiet." The guards entered the alley, their masks glowing red. They searched left and right. Their weapons hummed, ready to fire. The boy looked around. There was only one way out, a small hole at the far end of the alley, hidden behind barrels. It was small, dirty, but maybe big enough for two. He took her hand. "Come now." The girl followed, her basket rattling with broken toys. Slowly, they crawled through the barrels toward the hole. But one of the guards turned his head. He saw movement. "Stop!" The guard's voice thundered. The boy didn't wait. He pushed the girl into the hole and forced himself in after her. The guards shouted and fired. Blue fire hit the walls, burning holes into the stone. The air filled with smoke and dust. But by the time the guards reached the barrels, the boy and girl had already slipped into the dark tunnel below. The tunnel was damp and cold. Water dripped from above. The boy coughed, trying to catch his breath. The girl held the glowing toy close, as if it was her heart. After a long silence, she whispered, Why did you help me?" The boy looked at her. Her eyes were large, shining with fear and hope. He said slowly, "Because you asked. No one asks in this world anymore. And I believed you." The girl lowered her head. For a moment, she said nothing. Then, with shaking hands, she pulled the toy out again. It was no normal toy. It was a crystal figure, shaped like a soldier but alive with strange light. The glow pulsed as if it had a heartbeat. The boy stared. "What is that thing?" The girl's voice trembled. "It was my father's. He said it was a gift. From long ago. He said it belonged to humans. Not to aliens," the boy frowned. "To humans? But we have nothing left. No weapons, no power." The girl shook her head. "Not nothing. This toy, it is more than it looks. It holds energy. My father said it can heal. It can protect. That is why the guards want it. They fear it." The boy felt the hair on his neck rise. He reached out, his fingers almost touching the crystal. The moment his skin brushed it, the toy shined brighter. The light spread across the tunnel walls, filling the darkness with blue fire. The girl gasped. "It reacts to you." The boy pulled his hand back, his chest pounding. "Why me?" She stared at him. "Maybe. Because you are human. My father said this power was made for humans long ago. It was lost, but now it wakes." The boy's mind raced. If this crystal was real, if it was truly human power, then everything they were told was a lie. Humans were not weak. Humans were not broken. They were only forgotten. But before he could think more, the sound of boots echoed again. The guards had found the tunnel. The girl's face turned pale. "They are coming," the boy grabbed her hand. "Then we move." They ran deeper into the tunnel, their footsteps splashing in the water. The light from the crystal guided the way. The tunnel opened into a wide underground chamber. It smelled of smoke and oil. Strange shapes moved in the shadows. The boy froze. "We are not alone." From the darkness, figures stepped forward. Not guards. Not traitors. These were rebels. Their clothes were torn, their eyes burning with fire. Some were alien, some were human, but all carried weapons made from scraps. One of them, a tall woman with scars on her face, raised a hand. "Stop!" The boy and the girl stopped. The rebels looked at them carefully. Then the woman's eyes fell on the glowing toy. Her voice grew sharp. "Where did you get that?" The girl hugged it tight. "It was my father's. It is all I have." The rebels whispered among themselves. Some looked afraid, others angry. The woman stepped closer. "Do you know what you carry, child?" The girl shook her head. "Only that it can help my mother." The woman's voice grew heavy. "That is no toy. That is human technology. Old, ancient, and powerful. The kind the rulers tried to erase from history. With that, humans once fought the alien empire." The boy's eyes widened. His chest felt heavy. So it was true. Humans once had power. Power that could return. But before he could speak, the girl tugged at his sleeve. Her eyes filled with tears. "Please, my mother is dying. I don't care about empires. I just want to save her." The rebels looked at each other. Some nodded with pity. Others frowned. The woman said, "The crystal can heal. but it can also destroy. If you use it for one life, you may lose the chance to save many. You must choose carefully. The boy felt torn. His heart wanted to help the girl's mother, but his mind whispered about the truth, about what this power meant for all humans. The chamber shook suddenly. Dust fell from the ceiling. The rebels grabbed their weapons. A rebel shouted, "The guards have found us!" The boy and girl turned toward the tunnel. Blue light flashed as the guards forced their way inside. The girl held the crystal tight. The boy clenched his fists. The secret was out. The chase was not over, and now, the real fight was about to begin. The chamber shook again. Dust rained from the ceiling, and the sound of armored boots thundered through the tunnels. The alien guards had found the rebels. Their glowing weapons cut through the dark like blades of fire. The boy's heart pounded. The girl clutched the crystal toy against her chest, her eyes wide with fear. Around them, the rebels shouted and moved into position. Some raised scrap rifles. Others lifted sharp blades. The scarred rebel woman pointed toward the far exit. "Take the girl. Take the crystal. Go." The boy froze. "Why us?" Her eyes burned. "Because it answers to you. The crystal chose you. If it falls into their hands, all of us are finished." The boy didn't argue. He grabbed the girl's hand and pulled her toward the shadows. The rebels formed a wall behind them, ready to fight. The guards stormed in. Their weapons fired bright blue bolts. Sparks exploded as the first rebels fell. The chamber filled with screams and smoke. The boy dragged the girl through a narrow passage. The walls were damp and the air smelled of burning stone. The sound of battle echoed behind them, sharp and terrible. The girl whispered, "They are dying." "For us." The boy didn't look back. "Then we must live, or their fight means nothing." They burst out into another tunnel, wider this time. The floor was rough, covered in broken stones. Ahead, faint light glowed, a way out. But the sound of pursuit followed close. The guards were fast. Their heavy boots slammed the ground like drums. The boy ran faster, pulling the girl. His lungs burned, his legs screamed, but he didn't stop. The girl stumbled, clutching her basket of broken toys. One of the toys fell, clattering on the ground. The boy turned back just in time to see a guard's armored hand reaching out from the smoke. He kicked the toy down the tunnel. It bounced, glowing faintly. The guard's mask turned to follow it. That small distraction gave them seconds. Seconds were enough. They reached the light. A broken grate covered the exit. The boy slammed his shoulder into it once, twice, 3 times. Finally, the rusted metal broke free. He pushed the girl through, then crawled after her. They stumbled into open air. The world outside was chaos. They had come out in the lower levels of the alien city. Towers of black stone rose into the sky, their tops hidden by smoke. The air was thick with strange smells, metal, oil, and rot. Crowds filled the streets, aliens of every shape. Many turned their heads to look at the strange sight. A human boy, a pale blue alien girl, and the faint glow of something powerful hidden in her hands. The girl whispered, "They are watching us." The boy didn't care. "Keep moving." Behind them, the grate exploded. Guards poured out, weapons ready. The boy pushed into the crowd, weaving between tall figures hiding in the noise. But the guards shouted, forcing people aside. The crowd scattered in fear. The chase was alive again. They ran into a market square filled with strange machines and cages. The boy jumped over a pile of broken tools. The girl followed, her small feet fast but clumsy. The guards fired. Blue bolts hit the ground, sending dust and sparks into the air. The crowd screamed and fled. The boy grabbed a stall cart and shoved it over. Fruit spilled, rolling underfoot. A guard slipped, crashing into the ground. Another tripped over him. The boy smiled for only a second. But more guards came. "Too many," the girl whispered. "We cannot escape them forever." The boy looked around. His eyes found a narrow stairway leading upward between 2 tall buildings. "This way." They climbed fast. The stone steps were cracked, but the higher they went, the more the city spread below them. Smoke rose from chimneys. Fires burned in alleys, and the sound of alarms echoed far away. At the top, they reached a rooftop. The wind was cold. The city stretched around them, endless and dark, but the guards were not far behind. The girl held the crystal toy tight. "It will not last much longer," she said. The boy frowned. "What do you mean?" "It has power, yes. But every time it shines, it grows weaker. If we use it wrong, it will die." The boy stared at the glowing figure in her hands. It pulsed like a heartbeat, but slower now, dimmer. He clenched his fists. Then we don't use it, not yet. We survive first. The sound of boots grew closer. The guards were climbing the stairway. The boy looked around. Across the rooftops there were bridges of wood and rope, old, unsafe, but maybe enough. Come, he said, pulling her across the first bridge. It shook under their weight. Far below, the streets looked like black rivers. The girl gasped. If we fall— Don't think about falling, he said. Behind them, the guards reached the rooftop. Their weapons glowed, ready to fire. The boy and girl ran across the shaking bridge. Planks broke under their feet, falling into the dark. The girl screamed, but held on. One guard fired. A bolt of blue light hit the bridge. The wood exploded, splitting in two. The boy jumped, pulling the girl with him. They landed hard on the next rooftop. The bridge collapsed behind them. The guards stopped, trapped on the other side. For now, the boy and girl lay on the rooftop, breathing hard. The city stretched before them. The night was alive with danger. The girl whispered, "We cannot keep running. We need help." The boy nodded slowly. He thought of the rebels. He thought of the crystal. He thought of the truth hidden in their history. But before he could speak, a shadow moved across the rooftop. Not a guard. Not a rebel. Something else. Tall, silent, and watching. The boy's chest tightened. The girl clutched the crystal. The shadow stepped closer, its eyes glowing faintly in the dark. The chase had brought them here. But what they found might be worse than the guards. The rooftop wind was cold, carrying the smell of smoke and metal. The boy stood frozen. The girl clutched the glowing crystal toy, and both stared at the figure stepping out of the shadows. It was tall, cloaked, and silent. Its eyes glowed faint yellow, not like the guards, not like any alien they had seen before. The boy's heart raced. Was this another enemy? The figure raised a hand slowly. "Quiet, if you want to live, follow me." The boy hesitated. He had trusted no one for a long time. But the guards were climbing again, finding another way to reach the roof. There was no time to think. He grabbed the girl's hand. "We follow." The cloaked figure moved quickly, silent as smoke. It led them across more rooftops, down a hidden stair, through a crack in a wall. They ran through broken tunnels and twisted alleys until the noise of guards grew faint. Finally, the figure stopped before a rusted door hidden behind piles of trash. It knocked twice, then once more. The door opened with a groan. Inside was darkness. The boy and girl stepped through. The air was damp, heavy with the smell of oil and earth. Torches flickered along the walls, lighting a narrow passage. Strange symbols were carved into the stone. The cloaked figure spoke at last. Its voice was calm but heavy. "You were seen. You carry something dangerous. Come. The others must know." The boy wanted to ask questions, but the girl tugged his sleeve. Her eyes begged him to stay silent. He nodded. They walked deeper until the tunnel opened into a vast chamber under the city. Fires burned in barrels. Dozens of figures sat in the shadows. Some were alien, some human, all dressed in rags and scars. The boy realized. They were rebels. The cloaked figure pulled back its hood. A woman's face appeared, pale and sharp, marked with lines of age and battle. She raised her voice. "I found them. The human boy and the child with the crystal." The chamber grew loud with whispers. "The crystal? Is it true? After all this time?" The girl stepped back, holding the toy close. Her voice shook. "It is mine. I only want to save my mother." A man with one arm stood up. His voice was hard. "Child, that is no toy. That is the heart of our history. Humans once held such power before the rulers took it from us." The boy frowned. "I don't understand." "What history?" The woman looked at him. Her eyes were cold, but her voice carried weight. "You are young. You don't know. Long ago, humans were strong. We built weapons, ships, and lights brighter than suns. But the rulers came. They feared us. They destroyed our cities, erased our memory, and left us broken. That crystal is proof of what we lost." The boy's chest felt heavy. He remembered the glow when he touched the toy, how it pulsed like a heartbeat in his hand. "But why does it react to me?" The rebels stared at him. The woman said slowly, "Because you are human. It was made for you. You may be the key to waking what was lost." The chamber filled with whispers again. Some eyes looked at him with hope. Others with fear. The girl's hands trembled. "I don't care about history. I don't care about empires. My mother's dying, please. Let me use it to heal her." The woman's face softened for just a second. Then she shook her head. "The crystal is more than healing. It can heal one life. or save many. But its power is not endless. One choice can burn it out forever. The boy looked at the girl. Her eyes glistened with tears. He wanted to help her, but the weight of the rebel's words pressed on him. If the crystal could truly bring back human strength, was one life worth losing that chance? Before he could speak, the chamber trembled. Dust rained from the ceiling. A rebel shouted, "They found us!" Panic swept the room. The guards had broken into the tunnels again. Their weapons hissed with blue fire. The woman drew a blade from her cloak. "We fight here. Protect the crystal." The boy turned to the girl. "We must go." "If they catch us," she shook her head. "No, if we run forever, my mother dies. If we fight, maybe she lives. Maybe everyone lives." Her small hands lifted the glowing crystal. Its light spread through the chamber, brighter than before. The rebels gasped as the glow touched them. The boy reached for it, but the moment his hand touched hers, the crystal blazed like a star. The guards stormed in, weapons raised. But for one heartbeat, they stopped. The light blinded them. The boy felt a surge of power run through his body, hot and sharp. Images filled his mind. Humans in armor, battles in the stars, cities burning, and voices shouting, "Rise again." The light dimmed, leaving him shaking, his hands burning. The girl gasped. "It is awake." The rebels stared. The woman whispered, "It has chosen him." The guards roared, stepping forward again. Their weapons lit the chamber with deadly blue fire. The boy clenched his fists, the glow still alive under his skin. He was no longer just a boy, but could he control what had awakened? The chamber shook with fire and screams. Blue bolts from the guards' weapons lit the underground walls. Rebels shouted and fought back with rusty blades and scrap rifles, but they were falling one by one. The boy stood in the middle, shaking. The crystal's glow burned through his skin, filling his veins with light. His heart felt heavy, his body weak, yet the energy inside him roared like a storm. The girl held his arm. "It is too much. You cannot control it." He looked at her pale face, at the fear in her eyes. He wanted to let go. But if he did, they would all die. The scarred rebel woman shouted, "Use it, boy, or we are lost." The guards stormed closer. Their armor glowed, their masks hissed with steam. One raised his weapon, aiming at the girl. Something inside the boy broke. He raised his hand. The crystal's light exploded from his palm. A wave of blue fire rushed across the chamber, slamming into the guards. They screamed as their armor cracked, their weapons shattered. Some fell to the ground, unmoving. Others staggered back, their masks smoking. The rebels gasped. The chamber glowed with strange light. The boy's chest burned. He dropped to one knee, struggling to breathe. His hands shook, sparks still dancing from his fingers. The girl whispered, "You saved me." But the woman's voice was hard. "Not enough. More are coming." The boy looked toward the tunnel. Shadows moved, more guards, endless waves of them. His power had slowed them, but not stopped them. The girl knelt beside him, holding the crystal. Its glow had dimmed, pulsing weakly now like a tired heartbeat. "It is dying," she said. "Every time it saves us, it loses more of itself." The boy touched it again. The glow surged faintly, answering him. He felt the weight of choice. Use it again and maybe save the rebels now, but risk burning it out forever. The woman shouted, "Boy, you must decide. Save us or save the future." His chest twisted. He looked at the rebels, fighting with broken weapons, their hope resting on him. Then he looked at the girl, her small hand shaking as she clutched the crystal. Her voice was soft, desperate. "Please, don't let my mother die," the boy's mind screamed. Was he saving one life or many? Could he even choose? The guards charged again. Their weapons fired, blue bolts tearing into the walls. The rebels fell back, crying out in pain. The boy stood. His legs were weak, but his heart burned stronger than ever. He held the girl's hand, wrapping his fingers around the crystal. This time the light did not explode. It flowed, smooth, steady like a river of stars. The boy raised his arm and the glow spread across the chamber. The bolts from the guards froze in the air, suspended in light. The rebels gasped. The guards struggled, their weapons trembling in their hands. The boy clenched his fist. The frozen bolts turned back, slamming into the guards. The tunnel filled with screams and fire. When the light faded, silence followed. Dozens of guards lay scattered on the floor, armor broken, weapons shattered. The boy collapsed, falling to his knees. The crystal's glow dimmed almost to nothing. His skin smoked, his hands burned red. The girl caught him. Stop, you will kill yourself. He shook his head weakly. I had to. The rebels stared at him in awe. Some whispered, "The chosen one." Others, "Human power returns." But the woman's face was grave. "You cannot keep this up. That crystal is dying, and so are you." The boy tried to stand, but his legs trembled. "We must move. More guards will come." The rebels began to gather their wounded, dragging them deeper into the tunnels. The boy and the girl followed, their steps heavy. At last they reached a hidden chamber, smaller and darker. Torches flickered weakly, and the air was thick with dust. The rebels laid down their wounded. The girl sat beside the boy, holding the crystal close. She whispered, "You feel it too, don't you?" "It calls to you." "But it hurts," he nodded. His chest still burned with the memory of the power. "It is not meant for me alone. It is too big, too heavy." The girl's eyes filled with tears. "But without you, we are nothing. Without you, my mother dies." The boy lowered his head. He wanted to be strong. He wanted to be the savior they needed. But deep inside, he feared the truth. This power might destroy him before he could save anyone. Suddenly, the ground shook again. A deep rumble echoed through the walls. The woman's face turned pale. "It is not the guards this time. It is worse." The rebels looked at each other with dread. The boy frowned. "What do you mean?" The woman's voice was low. "The rulers are sending their greatest weapon. They call it the Devourer. It does not chase. It does not capture. It destroys everything." The girl clutched the crystal tighter. Her voice cracked. "If that monster comes, nothing will survive." The boy looked at the fading glow in her hands. He felt the weakness in his own body. He thought of the rebels, the girl's mother, the truth of humans, and the weight of all those lives. His fists clenched. "Then we must face it, even if it kills me." The rebels fell silent. The girl's tears spilled over, but she held his hand tight. The rumble grew louder, shaking the chamber walls. Dust fell like rain. The boy raised his head. His voice was steady. "The power has awakened. Now we must see what it can truly do." The light flickered once more in the crystal, faint but alive, and far away, the roar of the Devourer filled the tunnels. The tunnels shook like thunder. The boy pressed his hand against the wall, feeling the stone tremble. The sound was not footsteps. It was heavier, deeper, like the heartbeat of some giant creature moving closer. The rebels whispered in fear. "The Devourer." The scarred woman's face was pale. Her voice cracked. "We cannot fight it. We can only run," but there was no escape. The boy knew it. The girl knew it too. Her small hands clutched the crystal, its glow faint, fading like a dying flame. She whispered, "If it loses all light, my mother is gone." The boy looked at her. Her words cut him deeper than any blade. He wanted to promise her everything, safety, her mother's life, even peace for humans. But he could not promise what he did not control. He sank against the wall, his body still weak from the last battle. The glow from his veins had dimmed, but his chest still burned with leftover fire. The woman crouched beside him. "Listen, boy. You are strong, yes, but that power eats at you. Every time you use it, it takes something. Soon there will be nothing left of you." The boy looked at his trembling hands. They felt heavier, older. He thought of the crystal's bright light when it first touched him, and how now it was fading. Was it dying, or was he? The girl sat close, whispering only for him. "Do you regret helping me?" His head lifted sharply. "No, never." She looked down. "If you give all your strength to save my mother, maybe no one else can be saved. If you keep the power for humans, my mother will die." The boy's chest tightened. She had spoken the truth he tried to ignore. The rebels argued in the chamber. Some shouted that the boy must use the crystal to fight the Devourer. Others said it must be saved, hidden, guarded for the future. The voices clashed like knives in the dark. The woman raised her hand. "Enough, we cannot decide for him. The choice is his." All eyes turned to the boy. He felt their stares like weight pressing on him. He was no leader, no soldier, just a boy who once walked alone in a market. And now they expected him to carry the fate of all. He closed his eyes. He heard the girl's trembling voice in his memory. "Please, take my toys, human. I need money for medicine." That was where it began. One simple cry for help. He opened his eyes. "I will not choose between one life and many. I will find a way to save both," the rebels murmured. Some scoffed. But the girl's eyes filled with tears of hope. The ground roared louder. The air filled with dust. Then from the tunnel's darkness a shadow appeared. It was massive. A creature of metal and flesh crawling on limbs as thick as trees. Its mouth was a pit of spinning blades. Its body glowed with alien fire, the devourer. The rebels froze. Some dropped their weapons. Fear crushed them. The boy stood. His legs trembled, but his fist clenched. He felt the crystal's faint heartbeat in the girl's hands. The woman whispered, "If you use it now, boy, you may kill yourself. But if you do nothing, we all die." The devourer roared, the sound shaking the chamber until stone cracked. Its blades spun, tearing into the walls. The girl pressed the crystal into the boy's palm. "If it burns you away, I will not let you be forgotten. Please, save them. Save her." Her tears struck his hand, mixing with the crystal's dim light. The boy closed his eyes. Pain surged as the glow entered him again, brighter this time, heavier. His veins lit, his skin burned. His body screamed, but he refused to let go. He raised his arms, the crystal blazed like a newborn star. Light exploded across the chamber. The devourer shrieked, its blades slowing as the glow wrapped around it. The rebels shielded their eyes, blinded by the storm of energy. The boy felt the creature's strength pressing against him, like a mountain crushing his chest. His knees buckled. His breath tore from his lungs. But he stood. The devourer pushed forward, roaring, blades grinding. The boy pushed back, every muscle tearing, every bone screaming. The light between them shook, flickering, almost breaking. The girl cried out, "You can't hold it." The boy's voice was raw, shaking. "I won't. Let it win." The crystal flared again, brighter than ever. For a heartbeat, the devourer froze. Its limbs cracked. Fire burst from its body, but the crystal dimmed at once, its glow breaking apart like falling glass. The boy collapsed, gasping, smoke rising from his skin. His eyes blurred. He saw the devourer retreat, crawling back into the tunnels, damaged but not destroyed. The rebels shouted with joy, thinking they had won. But the boy knew the truth. The crystal was almost gone. Its heartbeat was faint, like the last breath of a dying flame, and so was his own. The girl fell beside him, holding him up. "Don't leave me, please." He forced a weak smile. "I'm not done yet." The woman looked at the crystal, her voice low. "It won't last another fight, and the devourer will return." The boy's hand tightened weakly around the girl's. His voice was only a whisper. "Then we make our stand." One last time, the rebels fell silent. The girl's tears dripped onto the dying glow of the crystal, and far above, deep in the alien city, the rulers prepared their armies. The final storm was coming. The underground shook with every heartbeat. Dust rained from the ceiling. The rebels sat in silence, their eyes on the boy and the girl. The crystal in her hands glowed faintly like a dying star. The boy's body was weak. His skin burned, his veins still lit with fading light. He leaned against the wall, struggling to breathe. Yet in his eyes there was no fear, only fire. The scarred woman spoke first. "The devourer will return. And behind it, the ruler's army. We cannot run. We cannot hide. If we fall here, the last hope dies." The rebels bowed their heads. Some whispered prayers. Others clenched broken blades, ready to die fighting. The girl held the crystal close. Her tears dripped onto its fading surface. "There must be another way, please. It cannot end like this." The boy touched her hand. "It won't. Not while I stand." She looked at him, her voice breaking. "But if you use it again, it will kill you. I can't lose you too." He gave her a faint smile. "I was never meant to live forever. But humans were meant to fight." The tunnels roared again. This time not just from the devourer. The sound of marching boots, thousands of them, shook the stone. The rulers had sent their army. Torches flickered. Shadows grew long, and then they appeared. Rows of armored guards, their weapons glowing like blue fire. Behind them, the ground split open as the devourer crawled forward, blades spinning, its roar shaking the chamber. The rebels trembled. Some stepped back, but the boy stepped forward. His voice rang across the chamber, louder than the army, louder than the beast. "You think humans are weak? You think we are broken? But you forgot one thing. Humans never stop fighting." The girl pressed the crystal into his hands. It pulsed weakly, but the boy closed his fingers around it. He felt its fading heartbeat. It was almost gone, but so was he. Together they had one last spark. The ruler's army advanced. The devourer roared. The boy lifted the crystal high, light exploded. Not bright, not endless, but pure. It flowed through him, through the rebels, through the girl. For the first time, it did not burn alone in his veins, it shared itself. The rebels gasped as their broken blades glowed, their bodies stronger, their fear replaced with fire. Even the girl, small and weak, felt the crystal's heartbeat inside her. The boy shouted, "Fight with me!" The rebels roared back, their voices shaking the chamber. They charged. The battle was chaos. Guards fired their weapons, but the light bent the bolts aside. Rebels struck with glowing blades, cutting through armor. Screams filled the air. The boy stood at the front, the crystal blazing in his hand. He faced the devourer as it lunged, its blades spinning. He raised his arm and light clashed with metal. The beast shrieked, its body cracking under the glow. The girl stayed close, her hands on his back, giving what little strength she had. Her tears mixed with sweat, her voice whispering, "Don't give up." Not yet. The boy pushed harder. His chest tore with pain. His skin burned, but he held the light steady. The devourer slammed forward, its blades inches from his face. He screamed, and the crystal answered. A burst of light shattered the beast. Its body split. Its limbs tore apart, its roar silenced forever. The chamber shook as it collapsed in pieces. The rebels cheered. But the army still stood. The boy staggered, barely holding the crystal now. Its glow was almost gone, dim as ash. The army of rulers closed in, endless, unbroken. The scarred woman shouted, "We cannot hold them." The boy's knees gave way, but he forced himself up. "Yes, we can together." He looked at the girl one last time. She nodded, tears shining. She understood. He raised the crystal once more. Its final light blazed, not into weapons, not into fire, but into hearts. Every rebel, every human, every soul in the chamber felt it. Courage, strength, the memory of what humans once were. The army charged. The rebels met them, no longer afraid. The boy fell to his knees, the crystal crumbling into dust in his hand. But his voice, faint yet steady, filled the chamber. "Humans will rise again." The battle raged. The rebels fought with fury, glowing with the last spark the boy had given them. The army of rulers broke step by step. The chamber shook with victory cries. The girl knelt beside the boy. His eyes were heavy, his breath shallow. She held his hand tight. "Stay with me, please." He smiled weakly. "Your mother, she will live." The crystal gave its last gift. Her tears fell fast. She wanted to beg him not to leave. But she saw peace in his eyes, even as the light faded. The scarred woman raised her blade high. For the boy. For humans. The rebels roared, pushing back the last of the army. When silence finally returned, the chamber was broken, filled with smoke and ash. The rebels stood, bloodied but alive. The ruler's army was gone. The girl held the boy in her arms. His body was still. The crystal was dust, but his words echoed in every heart. Humans would not be forgotten. Humans would rise again. Far above, in the towers of the rulers, silent eyes watched. The battle was lost, but the war had only begun. And in the darkness of space, something greater stirred. Something waiting, watching. The story was not over.